Good morning everyone. I hope you're all keeping safe. I hope you're staying out of trouble, and just trust that things will get back to normal and we'll be back to our golfing life, as you all know. And I'm sure every one of you at home really wants to come back and start playing their normal golf. Today we're doing the second episode of coming back to basics, getting out of the bunker, and I am here to help you, or rather to remind you that there are few steps that you must do when your golf balls enter into the bunker. And number one, today I'm going to start with the basic shot, which is basically one, when you're trying to get out of the bunker. Some people prefer to use gloves, some people don't use gloves. For this case, I'm going to use a glove, and some other shots I will also not use a glove. Basically, using a glove is personal preference. I usually prefer to play out of the bunker without a glove so that I have more feel on the grip and it helps me perform the shot better. But for those who use gloves coming out of the bunker, I'm going to start with that. Okay? And by the way, if you have any questions, you can drop them down there and we'll be able to answer them as much as we can. Okay, so in the bunker we have different situations. Number one, as you can see, the bunker is inclined in this kind of an angle. So therefore, when you're setting up in the bunker, you have to make sure that you set up properly. And as I spoke of last week about grip alignment and setup, in the bunker it all depends, one, with the lie of the ball, two, the angle of the bunker, and three, what club you're going to use. So you have to make sure that you use the right club to come out of the bunker. For this case, I'm going to be using a 60 degree wedge, because a 60 degree wedge, it helps me to come out of the bunker very well, and I'm able to stop the shot very fast and closer to the hole as possible. So as you can see, this bunker is inclined in such a degree that if you set up this way, you might start hitting the ground first. So the first thing to check is to ensure that you know the basics on how to set up in the bunker from different angles. Number one, because the bunker is inclined in this direction, I will make sure my shoulders are level with the ground. So I don't want to be this way, because if I'm going to angle this way, I'll hit the ground first before the ball, and that's not really good. It might not come out, or it might come out but go very far. So I have to ensure that my angles, they're a bit level with the ground. So I'm going to go to the pin on the left. Now, number one, make sure that you're bending. Your knees are well bent in that angle. Number two, I'll get my shoulders level with the ground. Okay? Number three, I will open up the club face. There. Number four, I will choke down. I talked of choking last week. So I'm going to choke the club down to about that much, about 2 inches below. And the swing will come slightly upper, a bit steep on the way back, so that the club comes closer to the ball and the ball comes out well. So therefore, I set up the club that way, open the club, then I pick the club from this angle and make sure that I hit 1 or 2 inches behind the ball, which will be able to get the ball out and try to stop near the pin. So let's see if it's going to work. So make sure your setup is good. I usually prefer to put the ball slightly in the front foot, because my shoulders are level to the ground. Open the club face and try to pick up the club. Okay? So that way you're able to come out. Now if you really want to stop the ball as close as possible to the hole, then you will do the same thing but come out with a very smooth swing. You have to make sure your swing comes out very smooth. Okay? So let's see again. Oops, almost got it in the hole. So the most important thing is to ensure that when you're in the bunker, you must understand the setup of the shot depending on where the ball is. The second shot I'm going to help you is on the normal lie in the bunker. So you can move close and see. So this is a normal lie in the bunker. So the setup here is quite, it's quite simple, but again, you have to understand gas. If I may remind you of gas, G is for grip, A is for setup, A is for alignment, sorry, and S is for setup. So grip, alignment, and setup stands for gas. So every golfer must understand gas, grip, alignment, and setup. We all have different swings, different body structures, different mobility. So the most important thing is to understand that you must have a good grip, good alignment, and good setup. Then now we come back to mechanics and body mechanics, which we'll touch on another day. But back to this normal shot to help you how to come out when your ball is lying perfectly in the bunker. So again, I'll use 60 because I prefer 60 in terms of getting the ball as high as possible and trying to stop it also as fast as possible. So in the bunker here, this shot, as you notice, my shoulders are not inclined or declining. My shoulders are level to the ground because the ground is more level. So I stay there, get the club slightly open there, choke down, and then you want to feel like you're sitting on a stool. Okay, so when you feel like you're sitting on a stool, then the club is able to slide under. There's something called a third sound. Third sound is that. A lot of golfers tend to dig, which is wrong. You're not supposed to dig into the ground. You're supposed to slide the club. So when you have this normal shot coming out of the bunker, you set up there, grip, make sure you choke down a bit, open the club face. I prefer to open the club face so that the ball comes out a bit softer and lands softer and stops faster. Okay, so here I'll set the ball because of the hump that I have ahead of me, which is about a meter high. I have to make sure that the ball comes out as fast as possible. Therefore, I go back to setting up the ball. I have to make sure the ball is set up more on the left. Why on the left? So that you're getting the ball on the upswing, so the ball comes out faster. Okay? So I'll set up the ball to the front foot and always ensure that you're getting about 2 inches behind the ball. Never hit the ball clean. If you hit the ball clean, a lot of things will happen. You can blade it into that edge to get it out of the bunker too far away, and if there's a car parked behind the green, then you might risk hitting the windscreen. Okay, so here I open up the club. Make sure your grip is soft. When gripping, make sure your grip is soft. In a scale of 1 to 10, you want to hold it at 5 so that it slides. Some people squeeze the club as if they want to break the club, which is not good. So make sure your grip is soft and light. So bend down, feel like you're sitting on a stool, and then from this angle, I will try to get the club almost a half swing and then release the same through. Some people tend to pull in. Please, this is called chicken wing. You don't want to be doing a chicken wing swing in the bunker. You want to make sure that this V arm is maintained straight here, straight there. Okay, let's have a look. That is the simplest way of playing a normal bunker shot. Now we're going to do the shot that is close to the edge. So what happens when your ball lands here and you have all this to play with? For example, in our course in Muthaiga Golf Club, we have one of the holes on hole number 6 where the edge of the bunker is so high and you have to play this shot to come out. Now a lot of people struggle here because they tend to hit here. Now this is where you have to make sure that your wedges, you have about 3 or 4 wedges in your bag. For example, myself, I have 4 wedges. I have a pitching wedge, I have a gap wedge, I have a sand wedge which is 56 degrees, and have a lob wedge which is 60 degrees. So in this case, I will use a lob wedge which is 60 degrees. Why a lob wedge? So that this ball can be able to come out as fast as possible. The more loft you have from the club, the higher the shot will tend to come up, and vice versa. So looking at this edge here, it's about almost half a meter deep or high. So therefore, again, when it comes to this shot here, I have to make sure that I go back to basics. The grip is good, the alignment is good. The most important thing is the setup. How do you set up when you have this shot? Now, this shot here, remember, we're going to the gas. We'll go to S for setup. I have to make sure that, again, the ball is on the front foot here. A lot of shots from the bunker from the same position, which they will struggle a lot, because if you're in this position and you play the ball from here in the middle, then you'll never come out. So the simplest way I can show this to you is, one, going back to gas, I play this S for setup. I set up the ball here. Okay, I set up the ball here. Number two, the ball is on the left front foot. Again, I get my shoulders now inclined in this position. Remember, when you were coming from there, the shoulders were this way. Why? Because the ground was slanting this way. But now we are doing the opposite. So you make sure your shoulders are inclined in this position. Okay? So you're in that position. Now, again, here you notice that I might not have a follow through because of this. So what happens in this kind of situation? You need something called the club head speed. What does a club head speed do? The club head speed helps you to get into the ground 1 inch behind the ball as fast as you can, and using the loft of the club, the ball will pop up. Okay? So let's see if this can be done. Same hold. So I make sure my shoulders are inclined in this position because the ground is more this way, and then I use a club head speed to get the ball out. There you go. That's how you play a ball that is next to the edge. Okay? The next shot I'm going to show you how to play is how to come out of a plugged ball, or rather most golfers like to call it fried egg. So let's see how it's done. Okay, as you can see, the ball is a bit, the ball is fried egg. They call it fried egg. This is an interesting one here. This is where now you have to understand how the club work for you, and choosing the right club in this position is very, very important, because if you're going to use a 56, unless you really close it, or some people open it, it might work or might not work. But I'll show you the simplest way of how to come out. Basically, coming from this kind of a position, all I want to do is to get the ball out of the bunker, not necessarily near the pin, but just coming out of the bunker. So the key thing I'm going to do here, again, we go back to gas, grip, aim, and setup. So we go down to setup. Where do you set up the ball? Most of the swings or the shots that are played depends with the ball position. If your ball position is wrongly placed, then you're most likely to suffer with the shot. So, one, the ball is plugged. So what do? You get in the bunker and you go, oh my goodness, I'm dead. No, you're not dead. It's just that you need to know how to come out of this kind of situation. And that's why I'm here to help you. And if you have any questions, you can drop them down there. Number one, I'm going to dig in my feet because the ground is flat. I will not incline or decline, okay? I will dig in my feet, get the ball more center in my stance, okay? I'll set the ball here, and then I'll use a 60-degree wedge. What I'm going to do, as you can see it, I'm going to shut the face, okay? Most shots I'll play them this square, but this one I'm going to shut it. So I will shut the face there, okay? So it looks like almost a pitching wedge, for those who understand what a pitching wedge is. I'll shut the face there. Then I will choke the grip down. Choking is holding the club on the lower side of the grip there. Two, I will want to get the swing straight up. Why straight up? Because I have to create an angle, a steeper angle of attack, which will first get into the sand. As the club goes into the sand, the ball pops up, and then I will just hold it somewhere there. Okay, this is called a follow through. So I'll try to get into the sand and hold it there. So for this kind of a shot, I'm not really looking to stop the ball next to the pin, but to rather get it out of the bunker. Okay, so I close the face, I pick up the swing. All right, I want to go straight into the ball, about an inch behind the ball, which will get the ball popping up. All right, let's see if we can do this. Okay, so that one didn't come out. Why did it not come out? I didn't quite accelerate enough into the sand. I will repeat it again. There you go. So that is how you play a plug bunker shots. If I may repeat again: 1, make sure the ball is in the middle of your stance. 2, pick up the club straight up, shut the face. So when you shut the face, what happens is that the leading edge, this is the leading edge of the club. The leading edge goes, okay? This is the leading edge of the club. This is the trail edge. Okay? So the leading edge is sharp enough to get into the sand. As it gets into the sand, the ball pops up. So make sure when you have a fried egg in the bunker, close the face, make sure the leading edge is facing into the ground, and get that club going in, and it will come out. Just a moment as I bring you some more shots. Okay, so I'm gonna do a shot from there. I will emphasize a lot on this because when a lot of golfers enter the bunker and if they find a lie like that, they freak out. I will repeat it again for you to understand better. So make sure the ball is in the middle of the stance. 1, 2, your hands ahead. As you can see, my hands are way ahead of the ball. Way ahead of the ball, so that I make sure that the angle of the attack is steep. So pick up the club, this angle, and then once you pick it up, drop it straight down, the ball will pop up. All right, again, one more. It's quite a tricky one, but we'll try to get it out again. So here, there you go. So make sure the swing is a bit steep and there's follow through. The next shot I'm going to show you is a plugged lie, but next to the edge. As you can see, this lie here is very steep. The edge is very high and the ball is way down below. So this is a tricky shot. What happens is that you find a lot of golfers trying to play this shot going for the green. Look, one of the easiest ways to scoring better in golf is not being aggressive every time. A shot like this, personally, I'd prefer to sacrifice one shot and save 2 or 3. Why? Because number one, this ball is a plugged ball or fried egg in the bunker. So I might not be able to come out properly, even if I have the right club for this shot. Because of the high edge that is on it, which is about almost a meter high, I might not be able to come out. So the easiest thing I usually do or tell my students is, when you get in this situation, sacrifice one shot but save 2 or 3 shots. Okay, so in this situation, then I just prefer to play it backwards. I play it backwards there, then I'm able to come out. From here, you rather sacrifice one shot and save 2 or 3. A lot of guys will try to go for it. Please sacrifice that one shot, play it backwards, then come out, and you'll save 2 or 3 shots, and that will help you a lot in the end of the round. Now the next shot I'm going to show you is
we have a question.
Sure.
So there's a question from Kushil Nathwani.
Yes.
Question for the pro: can he please give us tips on why and how to prevent sculling the ball out of the bunker? Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Mr. Vice Captain there. Now, how to avoid to scull the shots. Now, number one is a setup. Make sure your setup is right. If your setup is right, which for normal bunker shot, yeah, if your setup is right here, ensure that one, you determine how high is the edge coming out of the bunker. If the edge is very high, ensure that the ball is on the front foot. When it's on the front foot, make sure that you feel like you're sitting down, feel like you're sitting down on a stool. Okay? So when you do that, ensure that you aim at least 1 or 2 inches behind the ball, and you feel like you're sitting down on a stool. Make sure your grip pressure is light. When the grip pressure is light, then you're able to release the club. Because one of the major problems that amateurs have is when they're swinging down, they move up, and therefore you scull the ball here. So you must make sure that your posture is right. When your posture is right, then all you do is swing your arms back and through, for example. So for this case, 2 inches behind the ball, Mr. Vice Captain there. All right. I make sure that my swing is smooth, and I make sure also that my posture is intact while I'm swinging the club. There you go.
We have another one.
I hope I've answered your question, Mr. Vice Captain.
We have another one from Amos.
Yes.
How do you play bunker balls when the sand condition is hard,
yes,
soft, wet?
Okay. Thank you for those questions. One, you have to make sure that you have the right clubs, the right wedges, in other words. If the sand is firm, in fact, pro players, and mostly the PGA Tour, European Tour, Sunshine Tour, and our local Safari Tour, we actually like firm bunkers. Why? Because you're able to generate spin. When you have a firm bunker and you have the right technique, you're able to control the ball much faster, unlike when it is wet. So when, for example, I'll bring a few drop balls. Okay. So for example, let's say I'll try and make a firm bunker here. Let's see. Ooh la la. Okay. So, like for example, our course, we have firm bunkers, and thank you for that question. Very important question. Now, in this kind of a situation, I use a 60-degree wedge. Make sure that you use a 60-degree wedge. This 60-degree wedge, ensure that one, you again back to grip alignment and setup. Ensure that your hands are holding the club very light. Okay. When you hold it very light, make sure that you just time the ball about an inch behind the ball. Of course, on the golf course, you cannot draw the line. But in this situation here, you stand there 1 inch behind the ball, and make sure that you maintain posture. Posture is very important in the bunker setup. And then you come out like that. Okay, any other questions?
It's wet there.
Okay. Wet bunker like this one here. So this is a wet area in the bunker. Actually, in the new rules, we call this area a penalty area. Okay, so one, again, it comes down to setup. When you have a wet bunker, ensure that now you go 2 inches behind the ball. When it was dry, we went about 1 inch behind the ball, because we are playing with the leading edge of the club. Remember, there's something called a bounce. There's something called bounce. So this bounce is what you use to play out of the bunker. Okay, so I stand there. put the ball in the front. Again, the swing principle here is make sure that you start 2 inches behind the ball. All right, that will help you to come out better. Okay, the other question was on?
We have answered most of them.
Yes.
The other one was on plug shots, and I think you've already covered that one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any more questions, please? Okay, now I'm going to show you how to play the 40-yard bunker shot. How do you play a 40-yard bunker shot, 30 yards, 25 yards? Okay, so we're going to move back to that position. Please get me 50-degree wedge there. So when you have a 40-yard bunker shot, how do you play it? When you have a 40-yard bunker shot, this is where a lot of amateurs struggle with the shots, because it's not a greenside bunker, but you have about 40 yards to play. How do you then come out? So it's very important, maybe if you can come from this angle and okay. So the 40 yards bunker shot. It's very, very important that you play it from the front foot here. Okay, I chalk it down to about there, and the club that I use is gap wedge or 50 degrees. Yeah, I use 50 degrees wedge. Very, very important. Number one. Number two, I ensure that I go down to setup. Where do I set up the ball? Okay. All right. So I set up the ball more so in the front foot here. Okay. Number two, I ensure that I'm choking down on the club, because the distance is about 40 yards, so I don't want to go 2 inches behind the ball, because if I do 2 inches behind the ball, it will just come here. So I want to make sure that I'm catching the ball almost half an inch behind the ball. And then the swing will be half up to there, and I make sure that I go through the ball. So that might help you come out of the green side, the fairway bunkers to the green. I will repeat that again. So, one, ensure that the ball is on the front foot. Why? So that you can cover this high edge. Two, chalk down on the club. And three, make sure your swing is about what? About 9 o'clock here, and making sure that the head is on the ball, and I release the club. Okay. So that will be able to come out of the bunker, fairway bunkers, very easily. If anybody has questions, I can be able to answer. Yeah. Okay, so please give me a sign. So based on the club that you feel more comfortable with to play out of the bunker, always ensure that one, you are using the right club, the right loft from the bunker, and sometimes even some people, if you have a long distance, you're on the green side bunker, but you have a long shot to play, or rather a lot of room to play with, make sure that you can use a 56, you can use a 56 degree wedge, or you can use a 50 degree wedge, or you can even use your lob wedge. For this case here, I'm gonna show you how to play along a greenside bunker, but you have a lot of room to play with. So for me, flying the ball all the way is not very easy for me. I like to land the ball halfway and let it roll on the ground. So the faster you get the ball on the ground rolling, the easier for you to play the shot, and you'll get it much closer. And the control is the best. So we're gonna play the far end pin, and I'll show you how to bump and run from the bunker. So number one, I'll set the ball more. So this is my center. This is the center here. So you'll realize that the ball will be more back towards the right foot. Okay. So this is a 56-degree wedge. I've been using 60, but this is let's see, 56-degree wedge. So this one helps me to land the ball halfway and let it roll. So I'll set there. Make sure that now I got 2 inches behind the ball. Why 2 inches behind the ball? So that the ball gets a lot of roll. And let's see if we can do it. The swing now, I've changed the ball position to center back. Okay? The swing will be half. I always play with the 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So it will be there, 1. And then I'll try to get the 2 inches behind the ball, which will get the ball rolling near the pin. Okay? So that's how you play a bump and run shot from the bunker. If there are any more questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
From Saminganga.
Yes.
How to make the ball spins down, stop in close distance chipping?
Okay, that one we covered last week when we were doing the chipping episode. But I will be able to show him privately. When he comes, I'll be able to take him through chipping session on a private session and be able to help him and show him how to create spin around the green when you're using the wedges. So today basically we're tackling the bunker shots, and if you have any problems in the bunker, that's what we're tackling today. But if there are any other concerns with your game, you can see me privately. I'm available at your service. Any other questions? Okay. So I'd like to thank all of you for joining me live. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for lending me your ears, and I really appreciate. And we'll be doing more of this every Saturday at 9 o'clock. And I hope somebody's game will improve. And if you have any more questions, you can always get in touch with me. We're going to be also creating pre-recording YouTube videos where I'll be able to explain all this, and you can find them on the Tiger Golf Club YouTube page. Thank you very much. I hope you all keep safe, and till then, see you again. Goodbye.